A warm welcome this morning to everyone, especially if you're visiting us, passing through, out for a color tour and thought you'd start here today. We're glad you're with us, and you're always welcome here at Assumption. Jesus addressed this parable to those who were convinced of their own righteousness and despised everyone else. Has your mailbox been stuffed with political ads lately? How do you think the tone of those messages would stand up to today's parable? Jesus teaches us about humility as we approach God and the importance of persistent reliance on God's mercy and grace, avoiding pride, having a healthy and realistic sense of our true worth before God. We heard just before Mass from the bishop that Catholic teaching has been consistent in reminding us of our duty to take part in public life in a personal capacity. It is necessary, the Catechism tells us, that all participate, each according to their position and role, in promoting the common good. This obligation is inherent in the dignity of the human person. And here we are, just a few days away from our next chance to participate, to promote the common good by casting our vote in the November election. It's good and holy and healthy to approach the election with humility. Humility in our conversations about very important topics. Humility as we discern for ourselves and for the common good of society. Humility in our thoughts and in our words as we discuss topics and issues with each other. Of course, it's not my role, nor Father Tony's, nor the bishop's, to direct your voting on candidates or parties. But the bishops of Michigan do, of course, take seriously their role as teachers and guides, especially on ballot proposals that directly impact human life and dignity. And so, in humility, we are invited to carefully consider their guidance on Proposal 3. Now, to those who have been personally impacted in some way by abortion, know that you are loved and accepted. We want to help in any way we can, so please reach out if and when you're ready. And to those who have consistently worked to promote a culture and a society that accepts and promotes the dignity of all human life, especially of the unborn, we honor you and we encourage you to continue your important work on behalf of women and children. And to those who maybe haven't been directly impacted, or who perhaps tend to sit on the sidelines, hoping the issue and its complicated questions will simply go away. In my own awkward humility, please allow me a moment this morning. Yes, the topic is personal, very personal, and it's social, every time impacting more than one person. The topic is complicated. Human beings are involved, so of course it's complicated, which is why we approach in humility. And in spite of the multiple campaign ads in our mailbox referencing the topic, it's not easy for most of us to talk about. Words often fail us in expressing our convictions and our pain and our hopes. And words can be very loaded, can't they? They can open us to new ideas and understanding, and they can shut our ears tightly. even leading us, in the words of the gospel, to despise everyone else. And that words are so powerful is one of the reasons we are encouraged to vote no on Proposal 3. Words and phrases matter. And in our constitutional democracy, the interpretation of words and phrases, especially those written into the state constitution, is left up to courts and judges. So we should be very careful when we agree on words and phrases that will be added to the state constitution. Words and phrases matter a lot. Phrases such as every individual, no matter how young, no matter the situation or circumstance, or fundamental right, one which shall not be denied, burdened, nor infringed. No limits, no guideposts, no timelines, no deference to conscience rights, no need for informed consent. Phrases like healthcare professional, potentially inclusive of many more than trained doctors in regulated clinics. And there are more words and phrases in the proposed amendment that worry us because of how wide open they're left to future court interpretation. Some of us will be voting no on Proposal 3 because of our long and firmly held belief in the fundamental right to life of the unborn. But today I appeal in humility to the rest of us, to those who maybe see the issue in other ways and in various shades of gray. And in humility, I ask you to consider the implications of the language of Proposal 3. I encourage you to carefully read the amendment language, not only the ballot language that will be presented to us, but the actual words that will be added to the state constitution. Jesus addressed this parable to those who were convinced of their own righteousness and despised everyone else. The hero of the parable is the tax collector, mindful of his own sinfulness and flaws, who continued to rely on God's mercy and grace as he made his way through life. We can probably agree that the days of pay, pray, and obey have passed. However, the firm foundation of Catholic social teaching, rooted in Scripture and the tradition of the Church, remains valid and an effective tool in making informed decisions. Catholic social teaching is built on the solid foundation of the dignity and worth of every human being, starting at conception. But even beyond Catholic teaching, Proposal 3 is problematic. Seen through the lens of natural law, the notion of the common good, and even of practical application of constitutional democracy, Proposal 3 is flawed and should be rejected with a no vote. Let us continue to rely on God's mercy and grace as we approach the November ballot.